morning everyone. This is in continuation with the physiography of India that we were doing. अच्छा यहाँ पर now the next topic of discussion is Western Littoral. अच्छा Western Littoral में we'll discuss about Gujarat, then we'll discuss about the Konkan region of Maharashtra, then Goa, Karnataka, and finally the Malabar coast. ठीक है? So this will be the part of the Western coastal plains, you can say, or overall Western Littoral. अच्छा now when I look at Western Littoral, the first part moving from north to south is Gujarat. If I suppose look at the map of Gujarat, now this is the state of Gujarat. This is the state of Gujarat. If I look at this area of Gujarat, this portion is what we call as Kutch. This is the Kutch. This area, this one is the Gujarat plains, the area which is drained by Mahi, Sabarmati, area drained by Narmada Tapi, and this is the area which in physiography is known as Kathiawar, and in the if I talk about cultural division, this is the Saurashtra region. So Kutch, Kathiawar, or Kutch, Saurashtra, and this is the Gujarat plains. Okay. So this is the broad division that we have of Gujarat. Now suppose I look at the Kutch region first. See, we know that Kutch is nothing but a salt marsh. This is an area wherein we have the salt marshes. It is marked by the great flight of flamingos. This is the area wherein it was once part of the ocean. So if you relate it to the discussions that we have had on rock structure, see, if I look at the geological history of India, can I say the western part of the country was witness to marine transgression twice. That is, once we had the marine transgression during the Jurassic times, and we also had the marine transgression somewhere in the Eocene times, in the tertiary time. So we had the marine transgression. If I look at the origin of Kutch, Kutch was earlier part of the ocean. This was earlier a part of the ocean. This was the area where Indus River and its tributaries were draining. So we also discussed in the Rajasthan plains that this was the area which was once drained by Indus and its tributaries before the river shifted westwards towards the present day location. So it was an area which was drained by Indus River and its tributaries, and what happened was, over a period of time, due to continuous deposition of the rivers, continuous deposition by the rivers, this area got uplifted. This is the area where accumulation of sediments made it come over the sea, and this is the area which then became part of the land. The rivers were still moving over this area up till 1819. But then what happened was, in 1819, we had an earthquake in this particular area, and with the earthquake, a dike got created here. A wall got created, and that wall around 50 kilometers in length and around 15 or to 20 meters in height. And this wall that got created somewhere here. So if I look at the area where the wall got created, somewhere here, the wall got created. Okay. This wall, as after the earthquake, people saw this wall, this was named as God's Dike or Allah's Band. And because this land got uplifted like this, the movement of the tributaries of Indus, it started changing. So this is the area wherein we have a dike known as Allah's Band. The Bhuj earthquake 2001 was largely because of the reactivation of this fault. This is, if I look at the Kutch region, if I look at the basement of the Kutch, the rock structure which is making, it is largely made up of the sandstones and limestones that are dating back to the Jurassic times. Okay? So largely Jurassic limestone, sandstones, they are making up the surface. Uske upar we have aeolian as well as the alluvial deposits. Okay? So this is an area wherein the salt marshes are there, rock of sandstone, limestones, uske upar there is alluvium or the aeolian deposits as well. Then if I look at this particular region, somewhere here in this region you are going to find that there are grasslands beyond the Little Run. Sabse pehle we have the Great Run, then we have the Little Run, uske beyond we have grasslands. These grasslands here are known as bunny grasslands. One of the important grasslands of the arid regions. So these are important grasslands, and a number of pastoral communities live here. There's, for example, Maldhari, or for example Mutua, or for example Hingora. So these are the people that occupy this particular area of the Bunny grasslands. Suppose there's one area which was one part of the ocean. Suppose this is the ocean. There are certain islands here. Okay, certain islands are also present here. So if I look at the Kutch region, यहाँ पर still I'm going to find a number of islands. There's basically an alternation of flatland and a hill. Flatland and a hill. जैसे I'll have a flatland, a hill, a flatland and a hill. This kind of structure is present in Kutch. And these hills like the name Pancham Islands or Bela Island, Kadir Island, these now appear as hills, but they were once islands when Kutch itself was part of the ocean. Then number of creeks are there. Yahan par you'll find a number of creeks. These are those creeks through which the water is entering, and they have dendritic shape. So dendritic creeks are present in this area, and one very important creek that we have here is Sar Creek, the disputed area between India and Pakistan. So this is an area where a number of creeks are also present. Then when I look at this area, this is the Kathiawar region or the Saurashtra region. If I look at the Saurashtra region, this area is largely, if I look at the rock surface, it is largely made up of basaltic rocks. Again, the part of the upper trap, that is the Cretaceous times when the Indian plate passed over the regional hotspots, we had the volcanic eruption. So, good amount of basaltic lava has covered this entire area. But though the basaltic lava has covered the entire area, we don't find homogeneity here like what we find in the Maharashtra plateau. The kind of homogeneity that we find in Maharashtra plateau, that is not present here. But there is, yes, a basement of basalt, but there are some of the other rocks type as well. Just for example, in the eastern part, that is the areas around Bhavnagar, and towards the western part, that is areas like Dwarka. These are the areas wherein you have alluvium layer. A good and thick layer of alluvium is there over this particular basaltic rock. Certain areas are there where where the basaltic rocks have been intruded by the granitic dikes. So I have a basaltic rock, and then there is a granitic intrusion as well. ऐसे करके. So a granitic intrusion can be there. So granitic dike is present and it is intruding into this basaltic rock. That makes this area very important for the tanks. That is why every household would have a structure like a tanka, or water storage systems are present here. So the homogeneity that we find in Maharashtra plateau is not going to be present here. We would have basalt which is making up the basement, plus we would have alluvium. Other than the alluvium, we would also have the granitic dikes. Iske alawa, other than this, you will also find there are the calcareous deposits as well. If I look at the areas like Junagadh, if I look at the areas like, for example, Porbandar, these are the areas where we have the meliolene sand which is also present. So meliolene sand is nothing but it is a wind-blown sand which has the calcareous sediments that is present in a foraminiferal cast. So cast है foraminiferal का, उसके अंदर the calcareous sediments are present, and this is wind-blown sand. As it has deposited over a period of time, continuous deposition of this meliolene sand, it has led to lithification, and this rock is formed here. So after lithification, a rock gets formed, and this rock is present in the areas of Junagadh, in the areas of Rajkot, in the areas of Porbandar. This pura area, this will have these kind of rocks. And this is the rock which is exported from this area as Porbandar stone. The areas the important monuments like the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus in Mumbai, so Victoria terminus, all of these are made up of this Porbandar stone. Okay? Achha. Then when I look at this area of Kathiawad, जो पूरा का पूरा region है, generally the overall aspect is that the height may not be more than 600-700 meters. So there are very few areas like, for example, Gorakhnath Peak, जहाँ पर the height may be as much as 3600 feet, but otherwise the Kathiawad average elevation will be somewhere around 600-700 meters. Achha. Now there are certain hills as well. There's, for example, I have Girnar Hills, we have Gir Range, then we have Mandav Hills, we have Barada Range. So there are certain hills as well which are present here. Now what is going to happen is, if I look at this structure here, there's a sinus ridge that runs between, that connects the Mandav Hills to the Girnar Hills. So Girnar Hills को connect करता है with Mandav Hills, a sinus ridge. ठीक है? अच्छा. Then this also makes up the water divide of this area. जैसे if I look at the drainage pattern here, because of the hills that are present here, especially the sinus ridge, the drainage pattern is largely radial. जैसे यहाँ पर I will have a river like, for example, Shetrunji river. I will have the Bhadar river here. यहाँ पर Machu river. So Machu river, Shetrunji river, Bhadar river, they all start from this particular sinus ridge. Okay? So there are certain hill ranges here present as well, but the highest peak, the Gorakhnath peak, will not be more than 3600 feet. 3667 feet is the height of this particular Gorakhnath peak. Okay. Achha. Then when I look at this particular region of Kathiawad, what I'm going to find is, this area is very important because it was also the part of marine transgression. This area has deposits of oil and gas. Jैसे we'll discuss further about the Mehsana, Ankleshwar, Kalol oil fields. Okay, so this is the part of this region of Gujarat wherein we have oil deposits as well. Okay, not exactly in the western part, but towards the eastern part, towards the towards the boundary between the Saurashtra region and the Gujarat plains due to marine transgression. Saurashtra is the most important area in India for cultivation of cotton. Again, because the black soils are present here, and this makes this area the most important region for the cultivation of cotton. Achha. Then if I look at this Gujarat plains, okay, from the areas like Banaskantha, Sabarkantha to the areas, the southernmost part like Valsad, Vapi, ये सब area, they are part of the Gujarat plains. So if I look at Sabarmati river is coming through this area, then we have Mahi river which is coming, Narmada Tapi. So if I look at the Gujarat plains, it gives me the same appeal that we have in the northern plains, exact as the northern plains are the plains. These are also depositional plains, not as thick as the northern plains of India, but the same kind of alluvial soils, the same kind of structure is present here as well. Okay? So it can be called as replica of the northern plains in the western part of the country. So the Gujarat plains, the area, if I talk about the region important for industries, this is the area important for cultivation of certain crops like green gram, or very important for crops like, for example, cumin, or crops like, for example, coriander. So these are major crops here. Otherwise, Saurashtra, cotton, and Kutch mein not many crops are there, but yes, important for the pastoral community, especially the Banni grasslands, a distinct ecosystem that we find in this particular area. Okay, so this was the part of the Gujarat plains.